This is what I look for. When I see a success, I'm looking for anything
to say that they didn't do it on their own.
Yeah, to taint it, not to.
So civil complaint, simply allegations, needs to be proven in a court of law, but if true, it could rise to the level of criminality, and, you know, we'll see what happens if the DA looks and investigates.
Beyonce, the woman who has stood at the peak of pop culture for 2 decades, is reportedly breaking down behind closed doors. Insiders claim she is devastated, distraught, and openly crying after a stunning courtroom decision that few in the industry ever thought possible. By sad weight, the man who has spent years insisting that JayZ is his father has allegedly achieved the unthinkable, a family court victory that awards him half of JayZ's fortune. Half. Not just a symbolic share, but a staggering division of the empire Sean Carter built across music, fashion, sports, and entertainment. And because so much of that wealth is intertwined with Beyoncé's own businesses, the ruling doesn't just hit him, it threatens her financial world, too. Suddenly, the Carters, the golden couple of American music, are standing on the brink of collapse.
I'm firm against, I'm not firm against Jay-Z and all of that. It's like, I just want the truth, and it's so hard to get it in the courts. And seems like Jay-Z don't want to say anything. So, you know, I don't want to see him go down for something that you can just got taken care of. That's it.
Imagine the scene for a moment. Beyoncé, who has carefully cultivated the image of resilience and untouchable power, now feels trapped in the fallout of her husband's past. For years, she has forgiven whispers of betrayal, from public cheating confessions to the elevator fight that became legend. But this is different. We are not talking about rumors of flings or secret text messages. This is a legal ruling with teeth. A gavel has come down, and with it decades of tightly controlled wealth may now belong to someone who Beyoncé never asked to be part of her life. Sources describe her as shattered and betrayed. Realizing that JayZ's hidden past could destroy everything she fought for.
He took them to something. He took the apartment building, and they did what they did in there. You know, talked a little bit, had a good time, party, and like I said, I'm not being fully talk as my mom, because I'm not my mom. I'm just telling you that she told me. And I honestly just believe, it's just no doubt.
What makes this all the more shocking is the David versus Goliath storyline playing out before our eyes. Rymir, once dismissed as a clout chaser, a young man from New Jersey without the armies of lawyers and industry muscle that JayZ commands, has somehow won. His late mother, Wanda, spent years begging courts to order a paternity test, insisting she had a relationship with JayZ in the early 1990s. Those attempts were brushed off, buried in sealed records, or thrown out on technicalities. Yet here we are with Rymir positioned as the victor, pulling down not only recognition, but financial spoils that could be a billion-dollar dynasty. If this is true, it would be one of the most humiliating defeats JayZ has ever endured. It begs the question, how did this courtroom battle turn so disastrously against him? JayZ's lawyers have long portrayed Rymir's efforts as a decades-long campaign of harassment, painting him as a man obsessed with chasing fame through litigation. But in the eyes of this family court, that narrative didn't stick. Instead, the story of a son denied his father's acknowledgement carried more weight than the polished defenses of a superstar mogul. And while JayZ's team insists they will fight back, the ruling for now stands. The number attached to half his wealth is breathtaking. And it immediately ripples beyond JayZ's personal fortune into the empire he built with Beyonce.
This morning, rap Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men.
That is where the situation grows even more explosive. Beyoncé's fortune is not entirely separate from her husband's. Over the years, the Carters have merged businesses, co-owned properties, collaborated on music and touring ventures, and presented as an unshakable brand. Now, that brand is bleeding. If JayZ's assets are slashed, if accounts are seized, or if holdings are liquidated, Beyoncé's financial world gets dragged into the storm. And this is why whispers are growing louder. Beyonce may be preparing to divorce him. Insiders close to the family claim she is consulting her legal team, exploring ways to separate her personal fortune, her Ivy Park fashion line, and her Parkwood entertainment company before the courts reach stretches into her accounts. To put it bluntly, she may have no choice but to cut JayZ loose if she wants to save herself. That, of course, raises another brutal question. Does Beyonce even want to stay? This ruling is not just about money. It has reopened wounds about Jay-Z's history, the shadows he never allowed light to touch. We cannot ignore that Rymir is not the first to claim a blood tie to him. Years before, a woman named Letitia Messer stepped forward, insisting she was Jay-Z's daughter, backed by family members who claimed they witnessed the relationship that produced her. One of her relatives went so far as to write online, "I know the story from start to finish. I hooked your mother and father up years ago." There were even allegations that Jay-Z secretly bought her a home in Maryland and paid her bills in exchange for silence, forbidding her from displaying photos of him. If those whispers hold any truth, then Rymir's victory may be just the beginning of a devastating cascade. Think about the stakes. If one claimant has managed to bring Jay-Z to his knees, what happens when others see that success and take their shot? Could Mer follow with her own lawsuit demanding recognition or compensation? Could additional names emerge from his past? In an era where reputations crumble in days and legal systems move with surprising speed against celebrities, the idea of more alleged children surfacing isn't far-fetched. And with every new claim, Beyoncé's nightmare deepens. This is the woman who has built herself into an institution, a brand as powerful as Apple or Nike. And yet now she is reduced to tears over the cracks widening inside her marriage.
Weirdo. Weirdo. Don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me.
Behind the scenes, there is frantic damage control. Jay-Z's circle insists Rymir's win is temporary, that higher courts will reverse it, and that the empire is safe. But insiders whisper about closed-door meetings, accountants scrambling, and business partners suddenly nervous about joint ventures. No one wants to be tied to a crumbling dynasty. Remember, this isn't just about music. Jay-Z has his hands in sports management, streaming platforms, luxury brands, and real estate holdings across the country. If those assets are halved, if ownership shifts, the ripple effect will shake entire industries.
At that time, I remember thinking, I can't be mad at her because that is what the media portrayed.
And then there is Beyonce, once the picture of unity, now reportedly planning her exit. Can anyone blame her? She has stood by Jay-Z through scandals before, including his very public admissions of unfaithfulness. But this is not a private matter. This is a courtroom headline splashed across tabloids worldwide. One that paints her husband as a man with hidden children and suppressed past relationships. Every step she takes now will be watched, judged, and dissected. If she divorces him, critics will say she abandoned him in crisis. If she stays, they will say she sacrificed her fortune and her dignity to protect a man who deceived her. Adding fuel to this blaze are the whispers of more secret payouts. Industry veterans have long hinted that Jay-Z's fortune has quietly funded settlements to make potential scandals vanish. If true, those settlements might now be exposed in discovery processes, bringing names and stories into the public eye. Imagine the effect of not one, but several individuals stepping forward, each insisting they share blood with him. It's the stuff of dynasty-ending scandals, the kind that turns icons into cautionary tales.
Beyonce for sure. I love her. I love Beyonce. Jay-Z too, I really admire the both of them.
We are left staring at a marriage that was once branded as flawless power couple perfection, now under siege from forces that neither of them can fully control. And the question hanging in the air is almost unbearable. How much did Beyonce know? And how long has she been preparing for this moment? For years, she presented JayZ as her partner in both business and life. But was there a private understanding that these shadows from his past might one day surface? Or is she only now realizing just how fragile her carefully built empire truly?
I know so much. I know on how you got what you are. How you stepped on many people.
The tangled web of the Carter fortune is more fragile than most people realize. Rock Nation, the crown jewel of JayZ's empire, is tied to management contracts, publishing rights, and global touring deals that rely heavily on Beyonce's star power. Ivy Park, once a promising fashion collaboration, is already rumored to be under financial strain after parting ways with Adidas. Real estate portfolios in Bel Air, New York, and the Hamptons are jointly held. Even their investments in art, tech startups, and streaming ventures are interlaced. If Rymir's ruling sticks, carving assets down the middle, the legal process could expose the entire Carter financial map. We have to wonder, has Beyonce already placed her lawyers on high alert, drawing battle lines to protect what is hers?
Beyonce.
Gorgeous. A stab to my self-esteem.
Her legal strategy may reveal more than her words ever could. Insiders whisper that she has already begun restructuring holdings under Parkwood Entertainment, insulating revenue streams that JayZ cannot touch. If this is true, it would be a bold move, one that screams self-preservation. In the world of billion-dollar empires, paper trails speak louder than marriage vows. A separation of finances often precedes a separation of lives, and the gossip mill is already buzzing about whether Beyonce is quietly setting the stage for the most shocking divorce in modern music history. Imagine the headlines. The Queen of R&B walking away, not for love lost, but for legacy saved. What makes this moment so gripping is the double life Beyonce is rumored to have lived for years. Publicly, she has projected a serene, almost untouchable image. Never messy, never scandalous, always polished. Yet behind the curtain, she's been the fixer, the strategist, the one cleaning up the chaos left by her husband's indiscretions. We have seen glimpses of it in her music. Hints of fury and betrayal were laced into the lyrics, but she never allowed the full storm to spill into interviews or press conferences. Now though, this ruling drags her into the open. If half her fortune is suddenly vulnerable, she cannot remain silent. Does she break her silence with fire, taking control of the narrative, or does she retreat further into mystery, leaving us all to guess?
Beyonce and JayZ will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
Meanwhile, this emotional tightrope is cruel. On one side, Beyonce is the wife, the mother, the woman blindsided by revelations that could humiliate anyone. On the other side, she is a corporation in herself, a global brand whose every move carries financial consequences. Fans are left asking, did she already know about these hidden claims and choose to endure them quietly, or is she as blindsided as the rest of us? If she knew, her decision to stay raises new questions about the cost of loyalty. If she didn't, then the betrayal cuts even deeper, and her tears are those of a woman forced to confront her marriage as a business trap.
What's up? This is what's up with Beyonce on the red carpet with one of the hottest female artists out here, Miss Aaliyah. How you doing, girl?
It's so good to see you.
Meanwhile, JayZ's carefully polished image is collapsing. For years, he has portrayed himself as the ultimate hustler who turned street smarts into boardroom dominance. The family man who gave his children a better life than he ever had. He stood next to Beyonce as proof that he had transcended his past. But with this ruling, the myth crumbles. Instead of a mogul in full control, we see a man cornered by ghosts from the 1990s, ghosts that refuse to be silenced. And if Rymir has won, what stops others from following the same path? Could Latasha Mayer step forward again, emboldened by this precedent? Could even more names surface? Names that JayZ's inner circle has worked overtime to keep quiet. The ripple effect is brutal. Business partners hate instability, and JayZ's empire is built on partnerships. Streaming companies, sports agencies, brands, and luxury labels do not want to be entangled in messy litigation or public family drama. Already, there are whispers that some partners are pausing negotiations, waiting to see if his empire survives the storm. A mogul without stability is not a mogul at all. If lawsuits pile up, if payouts drain resources, the Carter empire could be reduced to ashes within a few years. Imagine the irony. After decades of surviving rivalries, lawsuits, and even criminal charges in his early career, it may be his own bloodline, real or alleged, that finally topples him. Beyoncé's position in this chaos is impossible to envy. She is fiercely private. But the scandal may strip her of that privilege. When one half of a couple is ordered to give away fortunes, the other cannot hide behind silence forever. She may be forced into court appearances, forced into public statements, even forced to acknowledge rumors she spent years ignoring. Every word she says will be scrutinized. Every silence is interpreted as guilt or complicity. Does she defend him and risk dragging herself down? Or does she stand apart, a queen reclaiming her throne alone? I hear that you're, a big fan of Beyoncé. For years, Beyoncé's silence has been one of her most powerful weapons. Unlike many of her peers, she has rarely spoken publicly about private crises, choosing instead to let her art do the talking. That restraint has created an aura of control, a sense that nothing could shake her composure. When rumors swirled about Jay-Z's infidelity, she didn't sit down for interviews or release long statements. Instead, she unveiled Lemonade, an album that turned whispered humiliation into cultural triumph. It was proof that silence, when paired with carefully crafted storytelling, could be more devastating than any press conference. But this moment feels different. A courtroom ruling that threatens to drain half of her family's fortune is not a scandal that can be smoothed over with subtle symbolism or poetic lyrics alone. It reaches into her bank accounts, her companies, and her children's inheritance. If she chooses silence once more, she risks looking powerless, trapped in a narrative she did not create.
I can only say as a father that I hope I instill with them the values that they would want to look for in a man. And I think I did when Beyonce wrote on her, I think it was her first album, maybe it was the second one, the song Daddy, that she hoped that she found someone just like her daddy.
Of course, the risk is equally great. By stepping into the spotlight of confession, she could open doors she has spent decades keeping closed. Every revelation invites scrutiny, and every omission will be dissected. Yet, history has shown that Beyoncé thrives in high-stakes reinventions, whether through music, film, or a surprise announcement. She has the ability to reframe narratives that once seemed insurmountable. The only question left is whether she will once again wield silence as her shield or shatter it to reclaim her story on her own terms. This is why fans are on edge. The Carters have long been the blueprint of modern celebrity power, partners in life, art, and commerce. But power couples do not last forever, and the cracks are visible. What we are witnessing may be more than just a scandal. It may be the dismantling of a dynasty. And with dynasties, once the illusion of perfection breaks, everything comes tumbling down. So, we are left staring at an empire in ruins, a marriage under siege, and a woman caught between survival and loyalty. The only question now is, will Beyoncé cut ties to preserve her crown, or will she gamble her future trying to salvage a kingdom that may already be gone? Tell us what you think. Has the Carter reign finally reached its end? Until next time, stay watching, stay questioning, and stay ready for the truth they don't want us to see.